You ever feel like you can't adapt to the teammates you're paired up with in Rocket League? Maybe you get the teammate who doesn't have a clue what rotating is, the teammate that straight out refuses to hit the ball, or even coming across the next RLCS coach that has all the greatest tips for you. Sometimes it feels like you're playing a bit of roulette, allowing the game to choose who your next teammate will be. Hey, I'm Jack. I've been playing Rocket League since 2016, and on this channel, I help people improve at Rocket League. In today's video, I'm going to share how you can adapt to any teammate in Rocket League. I'm going to split the video up into 3 parts: figuring out the type of teammate you get in a game, tips on how you can adapt to your teammate, and the ultimate method that will allow you to adapt to any teammate. Be sure to stick around to find out what that method is. Now, let's get into it. A quick disclaimer, what I'm about to share relates to the 2v2 game mode. If you're like me and choose to solo queue in competitive, you would have played with a diverse range of teammates. Some may have left you scratching your head wondering what the heck they were trying to achieve, while some may have actually surprised you. When we first get into a game with a random teammate, it's important we identify how they are going to play and what you can do to adapt to them. If we boil it down, there are 2 types of teammates you'll get in a 2v2 match: an aggressive teammate or a passive teammate. An aggressive teammate is more likely to push up and contest for the ball at any chance, sometimes known as a ball chaser to the Rocket League community. This type of teammate may also interrupt you when you're trying to slow down the game and set up another play. An aggressive teammate's main objectives is see ball, hit ball, and steal as much boost as possible, more often than not, your boost. Now, let's move over to the passive teammate, who is more likely to sit back instead of challenging for the ball. They are often quite hesitant and may take some time to make their decisions. This type of teammate often sticks behind you during the game and may be more of a defensive player or potentially not as confident in their mechanics. We as Rocket League players can have off days too, so remember that if your teammate is looking a little passive on the field. Don't forget though, some teammates can also be a bit too passive or a bit too aggressive in some stages of the game. So that's why it's so important we analyze how they are playing so we can work out how to best support them and to win the game, of course. I can't tell you all how many times I've neglected this myself, playing too aggressive when I've been paired with an aggressive teammate and playing way too passive when my teammate's playing passive. It's a recipe for disaster if you play the exact same way your teammate does. The most important part to winning a game of Rocket League with a random teammate is to adapt. So, how do we do this? You're going to have a lot of different situations come up with each type of teammate that will require you to adapt in many different ways. One tip that helped me solo queue all the way up to Grand Champion was to play to a teammate's weaknesses. For example, if I notice my teammate is pushing up way too closely to the ball, I'll make sure that I'm a good distance back just to cover them in case the opponent gets an easy clear or is able to get around my teammate. Let's take an aggressive player's weaknesses. If they're going for every single ball and challenging opponents every time, they're likely to overcommit and leave you alone on defense for quite a while. A solution to this is playing more defensive and playing far back enough to cover them. Usually you'll be the last point in defense with a player like this. A good distance from your teammate is around midfield and then playing off your opponent's mistakes to make the next play. A common mistake that I usually make when trying to adapt to an aggressive teammate is also getting drawn into the play and pushing up way too closely, often leaving our net wide open for our opponents to capitalize and score on. Let's go with a passive teammate now. With these teammates, their biggest weaknesses is often not going for the ball, so in this case, you'll need to play more aggressive. This means being the one to challenge for the ball and to maintain pressure on your opponents. It's a bit harder having a passive teammate, as there isn't much you can do to force them into the game. But as you both get used to each other, may see some confidence come from them. My most important tip when playing with a passive teammate is to be patient and to keep pressure on your opponents. Fake challenges work extremely well and allow you to often get possession of the ball to set up an attack. Avoid double commits at all costs, regardless of what type of teammate you have. Though, this mainly applies when you have an aggressive teammate on your team. Use the first 30 seconds of a game to make a plan on how you will play with your teammate. Are you going to be the one to rely on in defense, or be the playmaker that's a nuisance to your opponents? And remember to be patient. Solo queuing in Rocket League is already a difficult task, so it's important to be patient and really focus on how you can best support your teammate. Another tip that helped me with the solo queue climb up to Grand Champion was to turn off my chat completely. This allowed me to just concentrate on playing the game and adapting to my teammate as best as possible. As you're probably aware, there are so many different personalities on Rocket League, and sometimes it can get quite toxic if you're solo queuing. I'd strongly recommend this so you can avoid getting tilted. It may be obvious if you're a Rocket League veteran, but partying up with a teammate is the ultimate solution to adapting to your teammates. Now, why is that? Well, If you party up with a teammate and play with them on a regular basis, you both start to work out each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses. Not only that, but you will also start to develop chemistry with each other. Chemistry is important when you get to the higher ranks in the game. You can see why it's so important by using pro level Rocket League as an example, noticing the same teams seem to take out the majors at RLCS and also the LANs held throughout the year. Trust is also a big part of Rocket League, so by playing with the same teammate over a period of time, you're less likely to play passive and more likely to have confidence knowing they may be able to get a pass off to you, bump an opponent for an open goal, as well as leaving you the big boost pads on the field. Even though they don't sound really important, they can actually play a big role in helping you win more games in Rocket League. While you can still soar to the higher ranks in Rocket League playing with different teammates, I would argue that you'll spend significantly less time climbing the ranks if you played with the same teammate consistently. Some ways to find a teammate to play with are during your competitive sessions, on the Rocket League Reddit and or Discord, Rocket League Facebook groups, and so on. So there we have it. These are some ways to help you work out the type of teammate you've been paired up with, and some ways you can adapt to them in your games. I myself choose to solo queue my ranked games still, as I play at very different times throughout the week and very inconsistently. Usually it's 1 or 2 times per week, so I'd feel pretty bad if I'd let my teammate down by not actually rocking up for our rank session each day. Maybe I'll be able to put some more time into the game in the near future. I must admit, I do miss playing the game on a daily basis. I also wanted to quickly say thank you for checking out the channel and my video today too. I must admit, it's been really nice to receive some really positive comments and feedback on my recent videos. And also just wanted to thank you subscribers. I really appreciate you checking out my channel and supporting me on this journey. I'm really looking forward to this next chapter of this journey with you all. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to rank up in Rocket League? Check out this video to find out. I'm Jack, and I'll see you next video. Catch ya.